Karen's voice boomed like a foghorn, her words slicing through the humid air. "This ramp's an eyesore, and I'm done looking at it." She stood triumphant, hands on her hips, as the splintered remains of my wheelchair ramp lay scattered like a battlefield at her feet. The community center's lawn, usually a quiet patch of green in our sleepy town, was now a stage for her chaos, and I, stuck in my wheelchair, could only watch as my world crumbled under her entitled wrath. "My name's Ethan, 27, and I've been using a wheelchair since a car accident 5 years ago. The ramp was my lifeline to the community center, where I volunteered teaching art to kids. It wasn't just wood and nails, it was my independence, my pride." Karen and her sister, Linda, both HOA board members, had been gunning for it since day one, claiming it ruined the aesthetic of their pristine neighborhood. Never mind that it was fully ADA compliant, funded by a grant I'd fought tooth and nail for. To them, it was a personal insult, a blemish on their vision of perfection. That morning, I'd rolled up to the center for my Saturday class, expecting the usual: kids with paint-smeared smiles, the smell of coffee brewing in the lounge. Instead, I found Karen and Linda, decked out in matching neon visors, wielding crowbars like they were auditioning for a demolition crew. The ramp was half gone, reduced to jagged planks and bent screws. A small crowd had gathered: Mrs. Jenkins, the center's elderly receptionist, and Javier, a janitor who'd always been kind to me. Their faces mirrored my shock, but Karen? She was smirking, her chins wobbling as she ranted about property values and community standards. "Karen, what the hell are you doing?" I shouted, my voice cracking with fury. My hands gripped the wheels of my chair so hard my knuckles turned white. She spun around, her floral muumuu flapping like a warning flag. "Oh, Ethan, don't start. This ramp's illegal. The HOA never approved it, and the ADA? Uff, that's just government nonsense. It's not valid here." Linda, her thinner but equally venomous sister, nodded vigorously, brandishing her crowbar like a scepter. "We're taking back our community," she chimed in, her voice dripping with self-righteous glee. I was floored. Illegal? The ramp had been inspected, approved, and celebrated at the center's ribbon-cutting last year. I'd spent months navigating bureaucracy to make it happen. But to Karen and Linda, facts were irrelevant. Their truth was whatever fit their narrative, and right now, that narrative was tearing down anything that didn't bow to their control. Mrs. Jenkins, bless her, tried to intervene. "Karen, you can't just destroy property. This is for Ethan, for everyone who needs it." Her voice trembled, but Karen just laughed, a harsh, grating sound that made my skin crawl. "Property? This is HOA land, Margaret. We decide what stays." Javier, usually quiet, stepped forward, his fists clenched. "You're breaking the law, Karen. This is vandalism." His accent was thick with anger, but Karen waved him off like he was a pesky fly. "Go clean something, Javier. This doesn't concern you." I felt heat rising in my chest, a mix of rage and helplessness. I wanted to leap out of my chair, to grab those crowbars and show them what destruction really felt like. But I was stuck, literally and figuratively, on the wrong side of their chaos. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and dialed 911. "They're destroying the wheelchair ramp at the community center," I said, my voice low but steady. "Please, send someone fast." Karen overheard and scoffed. "Calling the cops? Typical snowflake move, Ethan. You think you're special because you're in that chair?" Her words stung, but I held her gaze, refusing to let her see me break. The crowd grew by one as Sarah, a single mom who brought her daughter to my art classes, arrived. She took one look at the wreckage and gasped. "Karen, are you insane? That ramp's for Ethan. For my kid, too. She uses it with her walker. Sarah's daughter, Mia, has cerebral palsy, and the ramp had been a godsend for her." Karen's face didn't soften. If anything, her smirk deepened. "Then maybe Mia shouldn't be here if she can't handle stairs." That was it. The air shifted, like the moment before a storm breaks. Sarah's face turned crimson, and even Mrs. Jenkins, who'd been trying to stay calm, looked ready to throw hands. Javier muttered something in Spanish, probably a curse, and I could feel the collective fury building. But Karen and Linda were oblivious, high on their power trip, swinging their crowbars with glee. Then, like a scene from a movie, sirens wailed in the distance. Karen's smirk faltered, just for a second, but she quickly doubled down. You think the police will care about your little ramp? We're the HOA, we run this place. Linda nodded, but her eyes darted nervously toward the sound. Two officers pulled up, their cruiser screeching to a halt. Officer Daniels, a burly guy with a no-nonsense vibe, stepped out first, followed by Officer Lee, a younger woman with sharp eyes. What's going on here? Daniels asked, scanning the wreckage. Karen launched into her spiel, voice shrill and confident. Officers, thank God you're here. This ramp was unapproved, an eyesore, and we're within our rights to remove it. Ethan's blowing this out of proportion. She gestured at me like I was a misbehaving child. I took a deep breath, forcing my voice to stay calm. Officer, this ramp is ADA compliant, fully permitted, and funded by a state grant. I have the paperwork. They destroyed it without warning or permission. I pulled up the permit on my phone, my hands still trembling. Sarah chimed in, her voice shaking with emotion. My daughter needs this ramp. They didn't just break Wu Theory, taking away our access, our dignity. Officer Lee knelt to inspect the debris, her face hardening as she saw the ADA-compliant sign half buried in the dirt. She stood, fixing Karen with a look that could cut glass. Ma'am, you're admitting to destroying public property? Karen's confidence cracked. Public? This is HOA property. Daniels cut her off. HOA or not, you don't get to play judge and jury. Vandalism's a crime, and this ramp's protected under federal law. He turned to me. Ethan, you pressing charges? I hesitated. Part of me wanted to scream yes, to see Karen and Linda dragged off in cuffs. But another part, the part that still believed in second chances, wavered. Then I looked at Sarah, at the tears in her eyes, and thought of Mia struggling upstairs she couldn't climb. Yes, I said firmly. They need to learn. Karen's face went pale, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Linda dropped her crowbar, the clang echoing in the stunned silence. You can't arrest us. Karen shrieked as Daniels pulled out handcuffs. We're the HOA, we're important. Tell it to the judge, Lee said, guiding Linda toward the cruiser. The crowd watched, a mix of relief and disbelief, as the sisters were cuffed and loaded into the car. Karen's protests faded as the door slammed shut, leaving only the hum of the engine and the weight of what had just happened. The aftermath was messy but hopeful. The community center rallied, raising funds to rebuild the ramp stronger and better. Sarah and Mia helped design a mural for it, full of bright colors and bold words. Access for all. Karen and Linda faced charges of vandalism, destruction of public property, and even a civil suit for violating ADA regulations. Their HOA reign crumbled as neighbors, fed up with their tyranny, voted them out at the next meeting. I won't lie, seeing Karen's smug face fall as she was cuffed felt good. But the real victory wasn't her downfall. It was the community coming together. Mrs. Jenkins started a petition for more accessibility upgrades. Javier volunteered to oversee the new ramp's construction. Sarah and I became closer, bonded by the fight for our kids, our rights. Karen thought she could bulldoze my world to fit her vision. She didn't just fail, she showed everyone what happens when entitlement meets justice. The ramp's back, brighter than ever, and every time I roll up it, I smile, knowing we didn't just rebuild wood. We rebuilt hope. The end.